All right, those of you that are here to talk about the requirements needed in order for our schools to move forward in 2024, which is everybody, right? Whether you're watching this live or you're with me live or you're going to be watching this as a recording, let's talk about what the requirements are. That is the key to one of the keys to success. Should open up for us so we can actually read it together. There we go. And I can put that in the chat. So the commissioner has sent out some information and I'd like us to read it. So new license, whoa, sorry. Excuse me. So the new pre-license education requirements coming in January of 2024. So Senate Bill 1495 or SB, that's what Senate Bill stands for, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, September of 2022, makes changes to the course content of real estate practices class required of new real estate license applications. So it takes effect as of the 1st of January. What does that mean for us as instructors, or what does that mean for us as our different departments? We have to get our syllabus for our campus or for our university or for our institution up and approved before January 1st. So for those of you that are like, how much time do we have? Well, we actually don't have a lot of time. I do have an email here from Emily that I put into my link that says most colleges have gotten a positive response from the Department of Real Estate within 2 weeks. For those of you that are at a university level, that's the community college level of education. For those of you that I work for that are at the university level, we don't have a completely different set of rules. We just have a completely different head that is running that side of things for the university. And then for schools that I teach for that are private institutions that are adult education, again, we have a completely different context. This is the one communication that I've been consistent with, which is Emily. She's amazing. So I do have examples of my part 1 and part 2 bias training certificates. So I have changed the SB 1495 from being 1 bias training video to being 4 because the change happened on the National Association of Realtors website. Go into the part 1 and the part 2 of bias training that I have for UCLA. It's basically the same. The difference is my UCLA accounts are 5 units. My community colleges are 3 units. And then if you are associated with the private institutions that I teach with, those are certificate-based courses. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to click on your midterm, which is part 1, and it's a simulation that is a requirement here in California with the Department of Real Estate. Now, this is something that I'm supplementing to the class, and the reason I'm supplementing this for you is it is the change, or this is going to be part of the change that is coming about for all agents to have their bias training certificate or requirements covered. And because of that, I'd like to get you ahead of the pack and get this done now. So it's going to take you about 60 minutes, and 100 minutes, an hour and a half, but it is a bias training certificate. It's called Fairhaven, a fair housing simulation. It is produced by the National Association of Realtors. This link here is going to send you to an image that looks like this. We're going to go through the instructions, then I can actually click on it so you can see it in real time. Under this link here, that's in your instructions in your class, you're going to see that there's a place to sign in. If I sign in, this is my sign in information. This is just actually an image, but you can see that my stuff's already auto-populated, right? Or you can register now, and down here, not a member of the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, register as a guest. So for those of you that are like, Kathy, I'm not a licensed agent yet, you don't have to be a licensed agent. Please register for the class. And then prior to launching Fairhaven, please note that this is a timed activity. You can come back to this activity. I've actually taken this activity myself. When it is all said and done and you've taken this whole entire simulation from start to finish, and that finish is associated with you. I have students that finish in 30 minutes. I have students that finish in 100 minutes, and everybody in between. Once you have completed this course, you're going to receive a certificate with your name on it. I'm not going to show you an image of the certificate or the font. It's not Times New Roman. For those of you that are like, what's the font? I'll just make it. You might not want to go that direction with the state of California. So this certificate, along with your prerequisite certificates and your California Department of Real Estate license, should be an excellent presentation on your resume when you choose to interview a broker that you would like to hire. As a reminder, The majority of the time you're in the real estate industry, everything is fun, but there's going to be a percentage of time that it's not going to be fun. Excuse me, when you hire a broker, you want that broker to be able to get in the trenches with you and walk with you through the process, because we know one question on the state exam that everybody in my classes eventually is like, oh, we know the answer, Kathy. Who is the agent? Are you the agent, or is the broker the agent? The broker is the agent, absolutely. So I want to encourage you through this process that you need to hire a broker that you can go and talk to about these like little things here and there. This bias training certificate is going to give you a very strong foundation of what's expected of you. So I want you to read through the rest of these instructions and move forward. This is part 1 of your midterm. This is not your full midterm, okay? This is only half of your midterm. Now the other half, bias override video part 1, what is implicit bias? Part 2, unintended violations. Part 3, strategies to interrupt implicit bias. So overcoming barriers to fair housing. This is the video that all the questions are going to be on. Give me a name of one of the co-founders. The Perception Institute is a consortium of research and content experts, and it's asking some more information about that. What does BRICK stand for? What is implicit social cognition? What is building muscle with regards to implicit bias reduction? And then last but not least, please detail your personal takeaways from the information presented in a paragraph of no less than 3 sentences. All right, so that's great. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is this. I'm working with a particular curriculum company. So I do teach at Glendale College, and we use Red Shelf, and it's all of the books. The great thing about it is this is the most recent version of the California Real Estate Practice book, and you'll see here now in full color that part. I'm just reading the screen. This all new 10th edition contains 2 new chapters which deal with the requirements brought about by passage of SB1495. This legislation requires that starting January 1st, 2024, any person sitting for a real estate salesperson license exam or a real estate broker's license exam must have completed this 3-unit real estate practice course that contains, among other requirements, a component on implicit bias, including education regarding the impact of implicit bias, explicit bias, and systemic bias on consumers, the historical and social impacts of those biases, and actionable steps students can take to recognize, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the most recent book. If you have edition 9, that will not suffice. This is the one to use for next year. So if you're looking for the company, Educational Textbooks is the company, and I do have their web site. So Educational Textbooks, you can contact them. They already have it set up. I work with them, and they are fabulous with Canvas. The books can be purchased on Amazon. The book's Red Shelf is digital. And I don't know about you, but I'm finding the majority of my students want to have digital books. They do not want to have paperback, and I don't blame them. Where are my paperback books? See, I don't even have my paperback books in my office. That being said, do you guys have any questions?